Good evening, very good evening to you. Welcome to Farage with me, Andrew Pearce. Delighted to be in the great man's seat here. And just to remind you, we're hearing that there could be some major announcement of some description about Royal Lodge and Prince Andrew later this evening, so stay tuned for that. Now, the government's national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal has suffered another blow today after a fifth survivor quit the panel. 4 other survivors who resigned earlier this week as advisors to the inquiry issued a statement calling for the Safeguarding Minister, Jess Phillips, to step down. They accused her of betraying victims by widening the scope of the investigations. Phillips offered an emotional defence of herself in the Commons.
But the fact of the matter is that there is absolutely no council in this country who will tell this inquiry where it can and cannot go. I have said that 1,000,000 times from this dispatch box, and yet the same thing gets peddled again and again.
Tone, Minister, tone. It's all about tone. And yesterday, the Prime Minister rejected calls for her resignation, instead throwing his full support behind his embattled minister.
Safeguarding Minister, I think, has probably more experience than any other person in this House in dealing with violence against women and girls.
This reminds you, of course, that it's the same Prime Minister who defended Angela Rayner from the dispatch box, and she was gone 48 hours later, defended Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington from the same dispatch box. He was gone 24 hours later. Now, in a new twist today, 5 survivors have written to Sir Keir Starmer and the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood to say they back Jess Phillips and will only continue working with the inquiry if she remains in post. So is there a way to revive this faltering inquiry? Well, joining me to discuss this is grooming gang survivor Jade. Jade, good evening to you.
Hiya.
This is a complete mess. The Prime Minister announced this inquiry, which, of course, we know initially he didn't want 4 months ago. 4 or 5 survivors have walked away from it. 5 are saying they'll walk away from it if Jess Phillips is sacked. No sign of a chairman being appointed. How do you feel about this, Jade?
It just angers me. I really don't understand why it's taken them so long to do anything about it. It's been going on for absolute years. And Jess Phillips, she needs to go. She needs to go. We're not going to get anywhere with this, with her.
Jade, why do you say she has to go? Was it the tone she adopted in the Commons the other day?
Yeah, I've sat in the House of Lords with her in a room speaking about our experiences, and she just sat there looking at her phone with a smirk on her face and wanted to walk up. Yeah, and as soon as we started expressing our emotions and got a little bit angry, she just wanted to walk away. We didn't let her, but she wanted to.
Yeah, and she may say that there's been no attempt to change the terms of reference of this inquiry because the grooming gang survivors want it to be just about the grooming gangs. But we know, don't we, Jade, that the charity that's been appointed by the government to work with the survivors actually wrote to them and asked them if they would object to it being broadened, the inquiry terms of reference, to include other forms of abuse.
Yeah, we're not, but this is not what we're talking about. What we are talking about are the rape gangs in this country. We know there's abusers. Unfortunately, there's loads of child abusers out there, but that's not. We're trying to talk about the group base.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know why they're avoiding it, and I don't know why they're avoiding the ethnicity of them.
Well,
because it's definitely not a race thing. It's factual. It's who we got abused by.
Yeah, you were abused by men of Pakistani origin.
Yes.
And of course, Baroness Casey, who did the audit of the grooming gangs in various parts of northern England, came to the same conclusion that disproportionately the rapists were men of Pakistani origin and descent.
Yes.
Are you worried that Jess Phillips is trying to cover that up?
Yeah, I'm worried that everyone that's on board is trying to cover it up.
Tell us about your own experiences, Jade. How young were you when you were being abused?
I was 14 when it started. It started off it started off fun and games. It started off building your trust by picking you up in nice cars, buying you alcohol, buying you cigarettes, buying buying you clothes, giving you money if you wanted it. So when you're obviously in care with nobody, you thrive for that. So it's like, oh yeah, you just always go back. And then a month into it, they'll claim to be your partner. And then that's where it all starts. It's just horrible, sorry.
Of course. And what part of the country were you living in, Jade, when you were in care?
High Wycombe.
Right. And being in care, these men showed you friendship, so you reached out to them.
Yeah, you thrive for that when you've got nobody, and you're getting attention. You're getting all the attention that you're wanting off of loved ones. So you just go. And yeah, it's just horrible. They basically pass you along to your family, like to their family. They bring people over from Pakistan, and make you sleep with them. I've been in the middle of nowhere and needed to get home, and to get home you have to sleep with everyone, otherwise you get beaten up. I've been approached by cars and said that, no, I'm not getting in your car, and I've been beaten up. So the next time I get approached, I just get in the car. I've had, unfortunately, 7 men take it in turns on me in a taxi base. I was that drunk, throwing up in the toilet. That was going on for about 2 years, near enough every day. If not every day, every weekend, it varied. And then I got put on child protection all the time because I was high risk of sexual exploitation. And then the last time I got put on it, 18 days after, I got arrested for inciting sexual activity.
So the police made you out to be the one who was breaking the law, even though you were clearly the victim.
Yeah, I've been to the police loads of times, given them DNA, I've given them statements, I've been bullied to drop statements, and then I've been arrested for wasting police time. So
and how old are you now, Jade?
I'm 32 now.
So this was 14, so that's 16, that's 18 years, and you still haven't got your inquiry?
No. And I haven't, since speaking out, since meeting Baroness Casey and me being in her report, nobody's approached me. I haven't been approached once. The only people that have approached me is Thames Valley Police knocking on my door unexpectedly, asking me to help them with an investigation. Not apologising for doing me wrong or anything.
No. Can I ask you, who do you think should chair this inquiry? Do you think it should be a judge, Jade?
From a different country. I don't think it should be anyone that's part of this country. Someone
because you don't trust somebody from this country to do the inquiry, to chair it?
No. And if I do, I think it should be the Maggie Oliver Foundation.
Yeah.
The woman that's been
Maggie
screaming
Oliver
and
has done
shouting.
so much work. Yeah.
The foundation that's been screaming and shouting.
Jade, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us, because I know this is very painful, and I really hope from the bottom of my heart that they get this inquiry sorted out. And
thank you.
So look after yourself, Jade.
And
that's Jade, who's a grooming gang survivor. I've got the panel with me, Stephen Pound, the former Labour MP, and a new person for me, the Conservative peer, Baroness Amanda Spillman. Can I say to you, as a woman, it's chilling to listen to that.
It is utterly chilling and heartrending to hear that kind of story. It's unbelievably foul.
And I thought Jess Phillips' manner and approach, and I use this word advice because people say that you only say women hector and men don't hector, but the tone of that exchange we showed in the comments was completely wrong, and it suggested that the victims, the survivors, weren't telling the truth.
I thought it was an astonishing tone. I was really surprised she chose to deploy that. I think the big challenge for Jess Phillips is whether she can show as much energy in pursuing the interests of women and girls when it's not particularly to her political advantage as she does when it is to her advantage. And this is a massive test for her and for the government.
Yeah. Stephen Pound, Were you in the house with Jess Phillips?
I wasn't. I spent a lot of time with Jess Phillips, and I mean, before I just speak about that, I'd just like to pay credit to Jade for having the incredible courage
Yes.
to come and speak in that way. It must be one of the hardest things in the world to say what she's just said, and I respect her immensely for that.
Chilling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's horrific. I think it's almost as if you've turned the dial so far into the zone of horror, and you go a little bit more. But look, I know Jess Phillips pretty well, and I don't think anybody in the time I was in the house spoke more for women and children who were being victimised than Jess. She was a strong, determined advocate for women's and children's safety. And I think the real issue here is, first of all, we've had an inquiry. We've had a 5-year inquiry.
Hang on,
hang on a second. It's come out with 20 recommendations.
Yeah.
The first of those recommendations related to the ethnicity and culture of the abusers.
Yeah.
None of those were implemented by the previous government.
No.
But where I think Jade made a very important point. In Northern Ireland, we had a huge problem with trying to get anybody to actually chair inquiries because of the division within North. So in the end, we got Senator George Mitchell, an American, who came in. And I think Jade's point there, and I've only heard it from a few other people, but I think maybe this is a case for bringing somebody in either from Europe or from America who's a complete outsider. But I think don't forget the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse had 4 different chairs over the years.
But just on the J report inquiry, which you're talking about, which lasted 6 years actually, Stephen, it was only a minor part of that inquiry was about grooming gangs. It was about the whole gamut of child abuse.
The first recommendation related to it.
Yeah, but there were 20 recommendations. 2 were about the grooming gangs, and it was literally, Stephen, it was a couple of 4 pages maybe out of 200. So we haven't really had a proper grooming gangs inquiry.
Well, I appreciate that, but there was a whole wider issue of sexual abuse of children. But the question is, what would an inquiry now actually achieve? We know that the majority of the abusers were of Pakistani Muslim origin. We know that. We know that the police and social services didn't act for the reasons that they did.
Well, I'll tell you what it might achieve, Amanda Spillman. Yeah. It might achieve, we might find some people who we could prosecute for the failure to act on behalf of these girls. And if you're a judge and it's a proper judicial inquiry, that's what could happen. Those girls deserve, I'm not going to say retribution, but they've not had any justice.
That's a really important point. And the other thing that I think is really important to get to is what is it that created the climate of fear and how can we get over that? We've got to get to a place where we can talk honestly. The grooming gangs went on for so long and probably is still going on in some places because people have been afraid to talk about things that have got connotations of race, of ethnicity, of religion, and in this case specifically of sort of clan affiliations. I think there's a strong connection with one particular part of Kashmir where clan loyalties overcame the respect and courtesy that everyone in Britain should show to everyone else.
One of the things that's particularly, your point about Mapura is, the Mapuri aspect is very important. Look, when I was on the buses, we very often found young children who were running away. We spotted them very easily on the buses because they'd have a shopping bag full of their clothes and they'd be crying. You know what we used to do? My driver and I used to take them to the nearest police station, say to the rest of the passengers, give us a few moments. Now, there's 2 police stations in the whole of London that are open 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and your mate Sadiq Khan is closing them.
Well,
the Labour Mayor of London. He's closing them.
I'm not going to defend him on that, Andrew.
Very glad to hear it. Now,